Welcome to the top 5 Michael Jackson interesting life facts for die-hard fans. Welcome, Michael Jackson fans. So, we're going to take a look at the top 5 Michael Jackson live interesting facts, but don't worry, if you've checked out the other videos, the other 5 will be coming this week, because we were doing 10, but I was talking too much. So, we're going to split it, because otherwise I go on too long, and it's better that I do 5 with more detail than 10 with less detail, because that's the stuff that die-hard fans find really interesting. So, here we go. Number 5. Bucharest crowd. Oh my goodness me. So Michael Jackson's Dangerous Tour 1992 Bucharest. The crowd audience sound was recorded, obviously. And actually it was a mix of crowds. The HBO version was a mix of crowds from Wembley Stadium, from other locations, and from Bucharest. And then obviously the BBC version was the version which was broadcast originally, and that had a quieter crowd. However, this crowd has been used so many times, it's just, it gives me a headache hearing this crowd going crazy. Okay, so number 1. In the History Tour, the Romanian TV station took Michael Jackson's feed, so they have a basic feed, which is simple, and then they augment it with their own shots from different angles. But what they also did was they augmented it with the original crowd from 1992. So what happened was, because the feed from the History Tour, the crowd isn't mixed in, they thought they would mix in crowd from 1992, the previous tour. However, what they did was they used a portion of crowd with a whistle in it. So a whistle on a loop will keep going, keep going, keep going. So through the History Tour, 1996 in Romania, all you hear is the Dangerous Tour crowd on a loop with that whistle on top, so loud, it's quite funny actually. Now, that's not the end of the story. Why, Behind the Mask, on the Michael album, they went and added the crowd at the beginning of that as well. You cannot escape this crowd. It's quite funny, actually. So anyway, there you go. And by the way, I actually, at the time, I was very young, and I mentioned, my brother used to work for Michael, and I mentioned to him, I'm like, that's the crowd from the original Bucharest concert. And they laughed at me. They said, you're crazy. And I said, no, it really is, because I had a good ear. And so I was right. So there you go. Number 4. Okay, guys, talking about the opening night of the History Tour in Prague. Off the Wall. So what happens is you have an outro to Off the Wall, a kind of instrumental breakdown, and then, so when I say Off the Wall, I mean Off the Wall medley, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And Michael Jackson comes in, pow, it ends, he says, don't stop till you get enough, and then it ends. However, on the opening night, Michael Jackson came in too early. So he gave his vocal cue too early, and the band stopped. However, the click track of set percussion sound carried on going, and they had to switch it off really quickly. And then Michael reacted with, hey, you know what's going on. But it was actually his fault, because what can the band do? If he cues them to end, they're between a rock and a hard place. What can they do? So I would have probably said, keep it going with the band so you have a neater musical ending, because Michael would have realised and then he would have come round. But there you go. If you take a listen to the Prague opening night History Tour, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Michael Jackson comes in too early. There you go. Number 3. 1995, Michael Jackson premiered Earth Song on the German TV show Wetten Das. And it was amazing. For me, this was probably one of Michael Jackson's best performances. He did Dangerous and he did Earth Song. With regard to Earth Songs, he went so crazy, he lost his head mic on the crane. It came off him. And, which is funny, it didn't affect the vocals, but hey, it's all good. Amazing performance. He lost his microphone during Earth Song. Number 2. Okay, we're going to talk about Man in the Mirror on the Dangerous Tour, but we're going to talk about the rehearsal. Now, a few videos ago, I talked about the split stage on the Dangerous Tour. You had 2 stages, and during parts of the show, the top stage would go up, Michael would do stuff up there, and then he would go down, and other stuff would happen down below. So, for example, Thriller, Coffins, etc. below, and Michael Jackson would do Billie Jean on the top and come down. It's pretty cool, actually. Now, what you might not know is that it was rehearsed for the stage to go up for the finale of the show on the Dangerous Tour. And what happened was they rehearsed it that the stage went up at an angle like that, and then the singers and the dancers would kind of walk up and sing the choir parts of Man in the Mirror. But what happened was that Michael Jackson basically said during the rehearsals, well, this is not going to work, we're probably not going to be able to do this because it doesn't really make sense. And he's got a good point. What's the point in it going up like that and then just coming down? It's not really a visual thing, it's a bit of a pointless thing. So it didn't happen in the end. I always thought that they probably could have used it one more time in the show, because they only use a split stage twice, which is, if you're going to put that much money, believe me, the amount of money that would have cost the hydraulics to use twice was serious. But it did work perfectly, so it could have been used in Man in the Mirror, I say. But then what are you going to do? Put it up and then have Jetman fly up and hit his head? No, I mean, there's a lot of complications involved. However, in the end, it was cut from the show. It wasn't added in. However, it was actually similarities in 1999 in Munich, with, you do see a kind of train, and you do see the same singers going up the bridge. So yeah, they kind of did use something like that in the end. Number 1, okay, the top 5. Number 1 is Michael Jackson's jacket, Billie Jean on tour. Now, if you look closely on Michael Jackson's Billie Jean jacket on Dangerous Tour, History Tour, or whatever, you'll see that on his back, there's a section which is not sequins, just underneath his neck. It's kind of like a thin cloth material, but that's not, it wasn't the case in previous years. And the question is, why is it there? Well, I'm going to tell you why it's there. It's there for the very good logistical reason. So he doesn't catch his hair on the sequins and pull him back like this. It really does happen quite a lot. If you wear a sequin jacket and you've got long hair, it hooks onto the sequins, and it kind of, you have to unhook it. And obviously that's a no-no when you want to perform. So what he did was he had the patch added to the back of the costume, so that gets rid of that problem. That's a pretty good hack, to use youth internet cool speak. But anyway, it's pretty cool. I actually wore one of Michael Jackson's jackets. I wore the Pepsi advert jacket when I was a little bit younger. I was quite surprised. It fit me perfectly, and there was no patch at the back. It was just a tight jacket, and that's from the Pepsi commercials. And anyway, that's a bit of a sidetrack. We'll save that for another video. So it's all going to be in the blog. Check it out for links. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. There will be more to come. The other 5 will be coming this week, and we have a great video, an in-depth analysis of Michael Jackson live at the Apollo 2002 coming this week. So stay tuned. See you soon.